Hello, hello, hello. Hello, can you hear me? Jagdish?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah. So Jagdish, just please type out a message. You'll be able to type there. Or
Yes.
type చేయాలి ఇక్కడ.
నేను టైప్ చేయాలి మ్యామ్.
Okay, so maybe we should just type that we are officially
Yeah, we can hear you.
Starting at 4. Okay, some people have already been waiting. They're asking where, what is the attention questions అప్పుడే స్టార్ట్ అయినాయి అక్కడ. Okay. Did you get the PPT?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So do you want me to do it from my side? Shall I connect from my side and also see?
Whatever you wish.
Yeah, I'm good. You can do it. You can do it from your side. I'll just say next slide. No problem.
Super.
Okay. So we are ready to go, right?
Inka oka 11 minutes. Yeah.
Ade. So we can see, no? Can we just see ourselves over there? Can we just change the stream and see if we can see ourselves over there?
I can hear everything you're saying on the live stream.
Okay, no problem. That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we have 51 already let into the room. Okay, they're just entering. All right. Chat. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Can you all hear me on YouTube? Can you all hear me?
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Ashwini. Yes, we can hear you.
Shimam,
Now
you're,
can,
yeah, you're muted.
yes, yes. Can everyone hear me on YouTube, please, now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes. All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, fine. Now I'm sure you can hear me, right? Everybody on YouTube, please just respond with the text. Yes, good, good. Okay, fine, fine.
നമ്മളെ കാണില്ല അല്ലേ
Everybody who's entering, please mute yourselves. Please mute yourselves. We will have conversations later. So request everybody to mute your microphones. So to all my friends who are here, great to see you. To all the students who are here, great to see all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, we have another 2 minutes. We'll get going in another 2 minutes. To those of you who haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, just go and do the honors, please. Just click on subscribe and join my YouTube channel. For those of you who need my email ID, so that at the end of the session, if you have any doubts, you can always send it, okay? We have 2 more minutes and then we'll begin sharp at 4 o'clock. Yes, my video is off. I have put it off on purpose. Arjun. Great.
Namaste, Madam Manoj Govind.
Yes, namaste. Namaste. Good to see you, Manoj. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. So welcome to everybody, okay? Welcome to everybody.
Hi, Ushy.
Yes, hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Shri, are you there? Yes, great.
Yes, I am there.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for always being there. You're a great source of support for me. Great. So to
It's
everybody
my
on
pleasure.
YouTube. Yes.
Okay, hi.
To everyone on YouTube, yes, it's a very big hello from me. Thank you so much for logging in on Sunday evening. We just have another minute and then we begin. Yes. Jagdish,
Hi,
you're
ma'am. How
ready?
are you?
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
ma'am.
I'm
How
good.
are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. Thank
Venki
you.
here.
Yes. Hi. Hi. Where's Naga?
Finally, I made it today. I was thinking that I should not give any excuses. I have this work.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
No, we are pleasure to meet you, ma'am, today.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody.
Good
Jagdish?
evening, ma'am.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening.
Ma'am,
This
Dr. Preeti Bhardwaj here, your student from
hello,
VSDC.
Preeti. How are you? How are you? How's
I'm good,
everything?
ma'am. I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. Thanks a
Hi,
lot.
Ushy madam.
Hi, Bushy.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Hi. There are too many of us here, so I won't be able to make out. Pardon me, but yes, A very big hello to everybody. Good afternoon. And we're ready to go. Right?
Yeah. I'm just muting everyone, so we will unmute you later. Except
Ria.
Mute yourselves. Don't speak in between. Good afternoon, everybody, once again. Great. So are we ready to go, Jagdish?
yes, ma'am, we are good to go.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So once again, during this so-called virus time, I'm sure all of us have been locked in for quite some time. It's rest, which is well deserved and well earned. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we need to now be focused on why we're here. And I'm sure I have all your attention. The moment I say the word virus, I'm sure all our heads start popping in. And this is exactly why I use the word in the current context, because the first lesson for today is always use things that are current. And whenever we are trying to express a message to somebody, you need to always understand what the message is. I'm going to be very crisp. I'm not going to be talking about anything other than connect. And I just want the next slide. If you can please just give me the next slide, Jagdish. So, I will keep saying next slides. Don't get distracted. I would love to have the PPT on and the next slide, please. Jagdish, yes.
Yes, ma'am, we have the next slide. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not showing in here. I think you should share the screen.
Okay, I am.
Yeah, you put on the banner, but I think, yes.
Okay.
Is that the next slide?
So this was the first one, and this is
okay, that's the next slide. Yes. So just continue. There you go. So I spoke about the virus, ladies and gentlemen. After extending a warm welcome, it's important for us to remember that most of us who are sitting in this room, which is almost 200, 300 of us currently, we already wear masks. We already wear our masks. We are not who we are. And my request today to everybody is, please try and be who you are for a change. And your audience will very well accept you. And that's why I keep writing into people. It was a message I posted on social media a couple of days ago. It says, remember, most of us already wear masks while meeting others. Corona just made it real. We have something on the outside, but most of us are wearing already something on the inside. We do not like the world to see who we actually are. And I think this is a big issue with many speakers. And today I'm speaking only in context of speakers. To all the students who are here from the marketing schools and the business management schools, someday you'll be required to present in terms of speaking in front of people. You will use a PPT, maybe you'll have a presentation. Some of you will become teachers. Some of you are entrepreneurs. Some of you want to run an industry. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever the reason is, you are speaking to people. And please remember that. The number one most precious commodity in this world is the strength of people accepting you. And as a speaker, I think all of us need to start working on what I call not just engagement, but acceptance. First, accept yourself and then start accepting other people. And it's so important that we do this, because otherwise it's going to be a huge problem whenever you're going to address people, whatever the topic, whatever the context, either personal or professional. Let me warn you guys that if you do not plan how you're going to engage audiences, it will sound like a foreign language to most of the audiences. And if it sounds like a foreign language, imagine we are with 3 friends and 2 of them start talking in a foreign language. What do you feel? You feel left out. And it's extremely important that you don't feel left out, right? So the entire exercise is to make sure that we are including the audiences who are going to listen to us. Next slide, please, Jagdish. Next slide. Yes. So this is how it goes. I'll keep explaining things to you for the next 15 minutes. And then after that, we'll make it totally interactive. All right. I'll make this really quick. Jagdish, I want you to be a little alert because we're going to run through this now, right? To all the students who are sitting there and to all of you who some point in your life seen a PowerPoint, believe me, we've sat and slept through it. Believe me, we've cursed the presenter. Believe me, at some stage, we wish either the PowerPoint or the speaker will die. And this is how boring things can get when you watch information more information and more information. I think most of the students come and tell me every single day we have to sit and watch PowerPoint. The moment you say PowerPoint, it's like saying fair and lovely. Whoever's used fair and lovely has neither become fair nor lovely. And this is exactly when you say PowerPoint. There's no power and there's no point. And look at the irony. I'm using one, but I've gone through a lot of effort to create the slides, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why you must put in a lot of effort to create whatever you're going to convey to the public. Next slide, please. Like I said, fair and lovely. Nobody in my life I've seen becoming fair nor lovely. The same way, there are many people who are using Axe deo spray because they see the ad and they see members of the opposite sex running behind you. Forget members of the opposite sex, even a mosquito will not follow you if you apply Axe or if you spray Axe. The same way, people use subliminal words to convey information to people so that they can sell a product. In today's world, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about marketing. And look what a chap is saying here. For my presentation today, I'll be reading my PowerPoint word to word. And many people stand in front of this PowerPoint and keep reading and keep reading. Now, my question to everybody here is, if I want to read from a PowerPoint, then why should you be sitting in front of me? I can send you the PowerPoint and you can read it yourself wherever you want. Now, the entire context for today is, if you care about people and if you value people and they're listening, then you must fine-tune your speaking in a tailor-made way to suit your audiences. What kind of audiences can they be? In say 10 people, 20 people, or 10,000 people, you'll have people of all different kinds. And when you have all different kinds, I mean all kinds of emotion. Some may be not bothered. Some may be extremely interested. Some may love you unconditionally, which means anything that you say is acceptable to them. There might be a bunch of people in the audience who know more than you. So they might sometimes understand it as being too basic. You might also have somebody who doesn't like you in the audience, where for them it's very subjective. They will come and try to find fault. So you have, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest critics in the audience. You also have people who don't care. Whether good happens, bad happens, PowerPoint comes or PowerPoint goes, I'm not bothered. You also have the indifferent kind of people in the audience. So for the sake of understanding, just imagine that people of every single emotion is sitting out there in the audiences. So in order to address every single person as if you're talking to them, it's very important that you start adding emotion to your speaking. And for that, there are 3 basic ways in which you can prepare your speaking or your written speech. I, for one, do not write a speech down, but I prepare mentally. And for that, you need to understand first, we need to design an effective introduction. Unless you design a very strong, effective introduction, you cannot go into the body of your speech. Now, the body and the introduction is very dependent on one important thing. That is the message you want to convey. Do I want to entertain? Do I want to persuade? Do I want to inform somebody? Or do I just want to speak about my story where everyone starts feeling happy? Now, ladies and gentlemen, based on this entire purpose, which is either to persuade, either to inform, either to inspire or entertain, we will have to present our message by designing the introduction. How will you design the introduction? For me, the most favorite way is get personal. Speak about something from your heart. I saw a smile on many of your faces when I said fair and lovely has neither made me fair nor lovely. Now, this is a personal example. And I want you to understand that whenever you speak a story, which is from your own experience, you would understand that. For example, a friend of mine the other day came to me and said, Madam, nowadays beauty comes from jars. Jars of creams, jars of makeup, jars of oil, jars of aloe vera. You understand that? For him, beauty doesn't lie in the eyes of the beholder. It comes from jars. Now, this is something very original. It means that you need to write down something which is your story, which is very personal and original. It's called designing an introduction. Now, once you finish an introduction, you must gear your content, which means that the middle portion of your speaking is primarily content related. Next slide, please. The middle portion of your speaking
is primarily a lot of information and content based. So be careful, because this is the part where audiences switch off. First of all, on channels like this, which is online, I would love for everyone to have a smile on your face. Maybe I'm not able to see you, but I can surely feel you. And it's important that you have a smile on your face, because without effective connect, nobody will be able to even accept a word of what the speaker is saying. So it's called engaging the minds of the audience. What are you engaging? What are your words engaging? What is your body engaging? Everything is engaging the mind of the audience. So it is from one mind to another mind. It's using words, it's using body, it's using tone, it's also using a specific structure. What is the structure? I told you, please have a wonderful, fantastic, strong introduction. When you have an introduction, it's called an intro. Then you gear in content. When I say gear in, some things have to be really slow, some things have to be really fast based on the time that's allotted to you. And finally, I would call it as use language that's clear to the ears throughout and close your story. It's called an outro. What am I talking here about the structure? You have an intro. You also have content in the middle, which is also about the message and the content that you're going to deliver based on the topics that you've chosen. And finally, you will use language which is clear to the ear and take the audience towards what we call an outro, which means closing. And it's very, very important that you have a very designed, effective opening and a very designed, effective closing. If you don't have this, then it's very, very difficult for you to engage the audiences. In about 60 seconds is all you get to do all what I'm suggesting that you do. Next slide, please. So please remember, sharing information is not enough. Sharing information alone is not enough. The fact every speaker must remember that a boo is much louder than a cheer. And this was said by none other than Lance Armstrong. After all the praise and everything that he got for everything that he did, one wrong move and a lot of publicity and everyone out there going and spreading the negativity, you know what happened? He got booed, he got shunned, he got ostracized, and he was pushed back into the same corner, if not a worse corner from where he started. So ladies and gentlemen, please remember that every time we speak, it's for the audience's appreciation. Every time we speak, it's not for me only to feel good. It's for everyone listening to me to feel good. And then when they appreciate me, I too feel good. And that's why it's a question of perspective as to where the speaker stands. Are you there to please yourself, or are you there to please the audience? I believe that we need to connect and engage with audiences, because remember, a boo is much louder than a cheer. Next slide, please. Next slide. Let me run through this now. You don't, like I said, there are 10 emotions in the audience. You don't want 10 different emotions going in 10 different directions. You can't speak to someone spiritual, someone scientific, and someone who's sitting at home. The language you use will be completely different. So that's why language is in context. The way you deliver is in perspective. Am I going to be funny? Am I going to be sad? Am I going to convey emotion? Am I going to be conveying statistics? Am I going to be just funny? Or do I really want to just share a story? Now, based on this, every single prep will matter. Like I said, design your intro, get and gear yourself into the information. When I say gear, it has to be smooth into the information. Speak a language that's clear to your ear, and slowly move on to a designed, powerful outro. It's called exit. So if you don't have these definitions, it will just become words and pieces of information that came in and went out also very, very quickly, because audiences are highly distracted minds. And like I said, I need to bring the focus back every now and then. Could you all just raise a thumb if I'm clear? Are you able to hear me clearly and see me clearly? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. For those of you who are looking good, thank you for looking good. You are not even moving, not smiling. Your main aim is only to look good. So some of you are seated on your great sofa sets. I love what you're sitting on. And I guess you should move a little bit, because we are all human. And don't worry about perfection. We make mistakes. People who make mistakes are brilliant connectors. You know what? And that's why I keep telling people, anything troubling, anything amusing, and anything remarkable, people love to listen to. But if I'm going to say that I won an award, I'm the greatest in the world, I'm that, I'm this, many people don't want to listen to you. And that's the reason if I tell them that I stood on a stage and I fell off the stage, everyone wants to listen to you. Because there is something that happened to you. There is something where you're downing yourself and you're depreciating yourself. Not always, but most of the time. If you tell people, like the other day I said, when I went into an audience, somebody asked me, I'm wondering if you're married and who are you married to? I said, I'm married to an army officer. And that guy said to me that only an army officer can control somebody like you. Now for him, it was really good because he thought that I was a strong person. And he thought that maybe to put down this lady, I need to have this communication. So audiences are not dumb, they're distracted. But at the same time, speakers need to be a little smarter, given a little so that you will get out a lot. Now, the entire context of what I explained to you, including structure, messaging, and the delivery point using language which is clear to the ear, is to enable the loving, the caring, the hostile, the indifferent, the uninterested, and the superiorly interested audience to remain focused to the speaker. Remain focused to the speaker. And I think this is exactly why we call it alignment. All speakers, when they wish to engage with audiences, need alignment. And when I say alignment, it just means that you need to be aligned through words with the limited space that we're all in online, so that you will be aligned to me as a speaker. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Now, quickly, this is the sad part about people who speak. They bring notes to speak. And it says so clearly over here that how to improve memory. He says, oh shit, I forgot my notes. And there are many people who cannot speak when they forget that piece of paper. Now, there is a way in which you retain your memory. Tomorrow, if you want to project maybe something so that an entrepreneurial venture is going to take off, a venture capitalist needs to invest in your idea. Maybe you want to share an idea to 15 people who are ready to listen to you, your story, and invest in your venture. Maybe a teacher is asking you a question during your Viva. It's very important that in that 1 minute, you convey information in a sharp, concise, clear manner. It's about matter and movement other than meaning. Meaning is yours. Matter and movement, you have to decide on the spot. It's called the 3M effect. Meaning, matter, and movement. Now, when you're seated like this, the movement is very restricted. You have to use only your gestures, your expressions, and of course, exactly what you're feeling in terms of your entire face. Because online, it's very important that you just use your upper body. Now, coming to this, why do you need all of this? Because even if you have $1 million idea, if I don't have someone listening to me, if I don't have someone focused on me, I will not be able to sell that $1 million idea because they are distracted, one, but even worse, disconnected. I don't know if you're able to understand what I'm saying, but I'm trying my best to make you understand that the only reason why you want to connect before you convey is so that the audience remains connected, remains engaged. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't like the speech more than you. So it's very, very important that you make them like you. And that's why as a speaker, it's important that you work on likability skills. Now there's a huge workshop on likability. I'm not getting into it. Next slide, please. I'll just continue and let you know. Design a strong intro, gear your way into content, which is the middle of your speech, and slowly get into a very effective, assigned, strong outro, which you've already designed in your mind. It's one mind to another using every media that's around you. Now, every speaker wants a good connection with the audience. I've spoken to many speakers. They're brilliant content guys, but they're very poor on connect. They look somewhere else and speak. They look down and speak. I've seen even on Zoom, many people reading. Many people keep notes in front of them. Many people keep a PowerPoint in front of them and read from it. If you're taking an online class, it's also very, very important that you stay focused. You crack maybe a joke or two. As a doctor, I keep cracking doctor jokes. And by the way, never trust a doctor or a lawyer. Both are practicing. So they're never perfect. So I have that excuse that I'm not perfect. If you're working towards being perfect, you're going to be in deep, deep trouble because the audience loves for you to make mistakes. That's why I said, every time you're talking about the tar phenomenon, anything troubling, okay, anything that is troubling, anything that is amusing, and anything that is going to reinforce something that you've accomplished and something remarkable that you want to share with people, then maybe people are with you on that count. So you need to work on the TAR phenomenon. Remember also about the intro, the content, and the outro that you need to design. Remember, do you want to persuade, inform, inspire, or very important, do you just want to entertain? Based on this, try and get focus of the audience instead of the distraction, which works very heavily in the minds of all people. Now, if I'm speaking to a bunch of children, my language will be different. If I'm going to speak to a bunch of 20-year-olds, my language will be different. Okay, I'm going to say this program is as awesome as AF. And the youngster will immediately relate to something there. But if I'm speaking to a 75-year-old retired scientist from, say, ISRO, then definitely it's going to be a different language I need to speak there. Because the moment I use the F word, they're going to say, send her out, who asked her to come in, bad girl. She was not taught what to use and what not to do. Okay, so some audiences we need to convince. Some audiences, they are convinced without you working on it. But at the end of the day, it's all about words, it's all about design, and it's all about delivery. It's all about words, design, and delivery. It's called WDD. Your body matters very less in the initial connect unless you're in a very large audience. When I say large audience, you use exaggerated body language. Next slide, please. Very quickly, I'm taking you into something which is important. Speaking to people is all about accepting oneself. If I love myself, the people who are listening to me will also start loving me. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a beautiful quote. It says, when you believe in yourself, you don't need to convince others. When you're happy within yourself and you're content within oneself and you're content, you need not have other people's approval. In fact, other people will accept you for what you're saying and what you're trying to share, because the one that accepts oneself, the whole world will accept them too. So it all starts with you and your relationship with you. I believe you should invest about 15 minutes in loving yourself. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Now I'm going to stop being my own critic, which means that many people keep beating themselves up. I believe it's important to accept you for who you are. Don't work too hard. Don't work towards perfection. Don't come out there and say that, oh my God, this was terrible. I could have done so much better. I prepared for 5 days, but I really didn't speak. It just means that it's time that I accept all the great things about me. I have a great body. I have a great voice. I have a great memory. I have great experiences, and I'm here just to share. Next slide. Next slide, please. I address at least about 500 to 600 people in the week. And I've understood one thing, which I'm sharing with you. People bond with you, not with your presentation. Your presentation comes after you. So it's very important that you genuinely care about people and start working on it by looking at personal traits. I'll share with you later if you have questions. Next, please. Next, please. We need to keep this really crisp. I've heard speakers come and tell me that I have a weakness. I'm quiet. I'm shy. I don't move much. I like to keep my hands in my pocket. I like to go to a corner. I like to look at my slides. I like to stare at people. Okay, I get lost and look at the roof. So it's important that you realize, please focus on your strengths. Don't focus on your weakness. If you start focusing on your strengths, like I said, the audience will accept you. If you start focusing on your weakness, then it's going to be a big, big problem, because ladies and gentlemen, anytime you fight something, it only becomes stronger. And in the context of speaking, it's important that you stop saying to yourself, I don't have a memory, I don't have a memory. There are ways to work around it. Always look at what you have and what you don't have. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Yes. If you talk about stuff that people can't relate to, if I'm going to come here and tell you Othello's story in Shakespeare, 90% of you will switch off. Why? Because you're not able to understand. Second, you're not interested. And third, that's not the reason why I called you here. We are here to understand how within 60 seconds we can engage audiences' minds. The audience's mind that are distracted, the audience's minds that are not in focus. It's your job to bring it back to focus and allow it some more forms of concentration, which means that let the distraction be, but always keep bringing them back to you, right? Now, next slide, please. Next slide. Let's run through now quickly. Yeah, the next slide. Yeah, many people believe the positional authority. If I'm the CEO of a company, I'm the principal of a college, I'm the professor and head of the department, whatever I come and talk, you should listen. Physically, maybe people are sitting, but mentally 90% of the students switch themselves off if you have a teacher who's going to come there and just going to say something that you like maybe, but you're not connecting. So everyone conveys a message before connecting. This is the biggest mistake all speakers make. They come and start conveying. After conveying, they start confusing a little bit. And then they may forget to convince, and then they conclude and go away. The connect is always left, and only 10 to 20% of good speakers make a serious attempt to connect. Now, it's important that you understand not information, not material, not your authority is going to matter to anyone who's going to listen to you. The number one reason why people listen to you is, am I going to get something? What's in it for me? Does the speaker care about me and my well-being? If you answer these three questions whenever you're preparing a speech, you're there and you've done that. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes, people are focused on their wants, needs, and goals. And thereby, I've already told you, it's all thoughts in the minds of the audience. It's important for the speaker to keep playing with those thoughts. Now, thoughts are multiple thoughts, maybe 10,000, maybe 20,000. Physically, you're seated, but many of us are actually thinking about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. It's a speaker's job to keep ensuring that you keep bringing people back to the room. Am I making sense? Can I see a thumbs up if I'm making sense? Yes? All right, great. Thank you to all of you who are responding. To those of you on YouTube, I hope I'm making sense so far, so that we understand that there is an intro, there is something called the messaging, and then there is a defined outro. People are distracted. It's your job to bring back focus. Now, what distracts them? Thoughts. There are thousands of emotions, at least 10 emotions you can calculate of all the audiences, and start tweaking and preparing your speech to suit all the emotions. There are people who like pain points. There are people who like to laugh. There are very serious people. So you need to focus your speaking around that. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Jagdish, next. Many speakers are very self-focused when they're on stage. It's all about I, me, myself. I, me, myself. Am I looking good? Am I feeling good? Am I looking this? Am I looking that? No, that's not the way forward. You need to be focused, but not so self-focused that probably I feel the most important thing is me and my slides. They forget that they are on stage. They forget that probably there are thousands of people listening to you. They also forget that they are human beings. So it's extremely important to be very empathetic when you're speaking to audiences. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Yes. Once you know what you want to communicate, like I said, PIIE, you need to start working on a script mentally. For those of you who are uncomfortable with the script, just make a few notes. Like I said, the introduction, 3 points in your message. If it's a 7-minute talk or a 10-minute talk, you need an introduction, 3 points in your body, and maybe 2 points which you're repeating from the introduction. It's a very powerful way to end when you're repeating your introduction. I started with the virus, I will end with the virus. So it's extremely important that you weave your speaking, next talk, and then you plan your script. Next slide, please. And then you plan your script so that you'll be comfortable. Now, the 6 ways that I promised you. The first one to connect instantly to an audience is tell a story. Tell a story, but don't make it very long. We have a tendency to get carried away with the story. And there are many stories as examples. If you can just say a short story, if you can just say something that you are comfortable with, and of course, at the end of the day, if you believe that you can speak and you can say something which is really strong, okay, your story which is strong, an experience on the road, an experience, it's called 4 feet. An experience with a friend, an experience in the office, an experience with the family, and something you're interested in. So if you weave a small story around 4 feet, friends, office, family, and interests, the audience will love it. So you need to start telling a story. Now, second, make it visual. If you look at my slides, you can see that there are images. You can see there's a lot of color. You can also see that there is a story behind every image in context to emotions which I'm trying to share. Ladies and gentlemen, make your presentation, if it is in PowerPoint, very lively, colorful, and visual, right? Now, if you're speaking, use words that are going to explain visual things to people. The audience likes many words which are explaining. Nice, soft, velvety, okay, plush, red sofa set. They like that. If you just say there's a sofa set there, It's very abrupt. So you need to tell a story. Okay, svelte, sensual, sexy Ferrari. Wow, you can imagine the red Ferrari. All right. So it's all about wordplay. You need to start creating a visual, either in terms of a presentation or in terms of your words. Create an infographic. Now, when I say infographic, it's purely for the sake of a PowerPoint. If you want to explain something to somebody, especially another brain, you're very thorough, but the audience is not so thorough. You have to actually bring it to a level where you go sequentially. Point number 1, 2, 3, 4, either in ascension or in descension. You need to start making an infographic in your mind and tell people in ascending order or in descending order. All right. And people understand much better and connect quickly. Ask a question. I've been giving you an example, and I'll do it always during the conversations. Ask a question. Asking a question is a very powerful way to engage the audience's mind, because the audience who's lost and distracted will keep coming back to you, ladies and gentlemen. Use repetition. I'm going to tell you a story, and then you say the story. When you're done with the story, you say, I hope you like the story that I told you. So I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, and then I'm going to go out and tell you what I told you. So it's very simple. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something, then I tell them, and then I tell you what I told you. So that's exactly how you would start and you would end a good speech, right? Use repetition when it's comfortable. There are 3 words. I had a dream. I have a dream. All these are phonemes. You can use it continuously and repeatedly. It sticks in your head. It actually sticks in your head. And many people who are dumb also use it by default. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about design. And summarize your entire speech in a short sentence or a slogan. Where there is a will, there is a highway. Nobody will forget it. All of us die only once. You have a chance to live strong every single day. Nobody will forget it. Where there is a will, there is a way is cliche. Everybody remembers it. Where there is a will, there is a highway is something unique. And they'll be like, oh, wow, never heard this before. And you need to tell them a story which they've not really heard before. If you're going to tell them the hare and the tortoise story, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, and all these kind of things, you've heard it for 1500 years, you will tell them, please, you just shut up. We don't want to listen to you, because you're actually disconnecting and going elsewhere. Next slide, please. Next slide. And after I finish this, I'll take on questions. Now, I want all of us to remember the entire context of the 6 points that I shared with you. This is how you will prepare. Okay, you can see the 6 Ds, and it's very important that you define your objectives. When you define an objective, whether it's I'm talking to students, I'm talking to teachers, I'm talking to an examiner, I'm talking to my doctor, I'm talking to my friend, it's always important that you define your objectives. Once you define your objectives, you need to delineate your behavior, which means my audience behavior. Am I talking to students? Am I talking to a bunch of people who are older than me? Am I talking to my investors? Am I talking to a bunch of people who want to kill me, which means hostile audiences? Am I talking to a bunch of people like a politician would talk to the opposition? All right, you need to start delineating your behaviors. For example, will I be firm? All right. For example, will I keep telling them stories? For example, now, should I need to be sad, or should I be happy throughout, or should I be happy and sad? So you need to start delineating your target behaviors, because you need to work with the end in mind and start working backwards. Very important, describe your listeners. Some of them will not give you any signals. They'll just keep looking at you. Some of them will keep nodding their head. Whether you stop or not, they're nodding their head. Some of them pretend like they're listening. They're actually looking at you. After I did a very long session for 3 hours in one of the premier management schools, I asked one of the students, so how was the session? He said, ma'am, you were wearing awesome nail polish. That means he was looking at my nail polish for 3 hours. And for 3 hours, all what I shared fell flat on my face. You must be careful about physical distractions. You must understand and describe your listeners before you start preparation. Devise activity loops. Can all of you do me a favor? Okay. Can all of you do me a favor? Right? Can we have the mic switch on, please? The mic switched on. Jagdish, can you switch on the microphones? Yes. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yep, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Madam.
Yes, ma'am.
No, no, no.
Ma'am, you're muted. You're muted. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Can you
hear
hear
you,
me?
Dr. Ushy.
I'm sure you can hear.
Can hear you,
No,
ma'am.
no.
Okay. Go near your speakers. Go near your speakers. Go near your microphone.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me a nice shout. It's called gibberish.
Hi.
Make a sound. Try and be perfect. Nice sound, okay? Make a nice sound.
Yes, madam.
Shout.
Yo.
There. What is your best? Any sound. Right. Good. Please mute everybody.
Hi, Prashant.
Please mute everybody. So now, thank you so much. So what is that called? It's an activity loop. What happened to all of you? Who were sleeping, they all got up. Because there's a small little distraction that I created through an activity loop. It's very important that you create your own activity loop, not what I do. You can create your own activity loop. Now raise your hands, you can clap, touch your shoulder, just jump up, stand up, everybody, breathe in once, breathe in two. You can do whatever. What I created is called gibberish. And gibberish is a beautiful way of creating an instant distraction, right? Now, don't forget the fun. Please have a smile on your face when you're speaking and when you're listening as well. Can you imagine I'm looking at all of you and all of you are like, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? Right? So the listener influences the speaker's mind. Very, very important for all of us. I believe that if you define, delineate, describe, devise, and at the end of the day, build the entire emotion of your audience, who I told you maybe of those varieties: accepting, interested, disinterested, hostile, non-interfering, superiorly intelligent, interfering. There can be 100 behaviors I can teach you, but in the interest of time, please remember to not deploy the wrong tools to connect. If you deploy the wrong tools to connect, then your summary will become very difficult. It will become something where both of you start fighting with each other, not physically, but mentally. All of them will switch off. What are you wasting? If I'm speaking to you for 1 hour and none of you understood me, nor connected with me, I'm wasting 1 hour of my time. I'm wasting 1 hour of your time. What are we wasting for each other? Our life. Because when you waste somebody's time, I think we are wasting each other's lives. Ladies and gentlemen, this is in brief what I wanted to share. The previous slide, please, Jagdish, the previous slide, the previous slide, the previous slide, please. Are you there, Jagdish? Yeah, there you go. So this is what I told you. Tell a story, make it visual, create an infographic, ask a question, use repetition, and summarize in a short sentence or a slogan. The next slide, please. I already told you how to do this. The next slide is also very important. Define, delineate, describe, devise. Don't forget the fun, and deploy. Now, these are the rules of gamification. When people create games, in order for buyers to buy the game and play games, this is what is used as a 6D technique to ensure that people enjoy their game. And the same thing is all about communication. Next slide, please. Next slide. So now I've already explained to you how to connect. I've already given you those dimensions. I've also told you how to design it. I've also asked you to keep the emotions of the audience in mind, because finally, there's no need to tell. There's always a need to engage. When you engage, they say, don't tell, don't lead, just engage. When you engage the mind of the listener, you naturally become a leader, because, ladies and gentlemen, there you are influencing, there you are impacting somebody. And finally, at the end of the day, there you are sharing your life with them, and there they are sharing their life with you. It becomes a win-win situation. Information being relayed from one brain to another brain. You have a sender, you have a receiver, and I'm using the media. Currently, the media is online. There are some limitations, but we've done superiorly well. You saw all of us are engaged, all of us are connected. We have more than 300, 400 people who are really connected and sitting over here and trying to listen through whatever media they can. I'm sure that at least 5 or 10 or 20% of you are going to take back strong messages. If you're going to take back strong messages, you have to learn to practice. Once you learn to practice what you need to, you will know exactly what I'm trying to share with you. Don't forget the fact that the first connect that you can establish with an audience is a smile. And I have observed not many of you smile. I have to tell you, switch on your cameras, smile please, then only people do it. And I believe that the first rule, take that 1 second to stand in front of an audience and smile. One, they'll wonder what's happening. Second, they'll love you for the way you are. Three, those who don't like you will become a little more sober. And four, those who are not interested will feel embarrassed and come back and try to give you half a smile. Ladies and gentlemen, you will mirror who you are in the audiences. 90% of the time, I've got brilliant audiences and I'm so, so grateful. 10% of the time, I have cynics, skeptics, and people who keep questioning you. 10% of the time, I've got somebody who will come knowing the answer and asking me questions just to test me. Human beings are of different kinds. And I believe it's very important that we realize that all of us are unique and all of us are different. All of us have strengths and all of us have things we can improve. As a speaker, it's very, very important that you focus only on the strengths that you have. For example, I can speak fluently in English. For example, I'm funny. For example, I can remember this much information. For example, I have a strong body and I'm never tired. For example, I have a fantastic voice and I can throw my voice around like anything. For example, I'm a great cracker of jokes. If I'm going to speak to somebody, everyone's going to laugh every time they listen to me. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no dearth for goodness in human beings. And like I said, the audience loves you more than the PPT. If you remember these two things, and you remember that you're addressing a bunch of people who are completely sitting there distracted, it's your job to ensure they all focus and come to the message that you want them to remember. Then life becomes easy, your talking becomes worthwhile, their life becomes worthwhile, and their time, which is invested in you, and the money sometimes is extremely precious and very, very important. The future belongs to those who engage and connect. It doesn't belong to those who write big books, read books, have this much of information. They say an idea across the world lies dead because it was just a thought. Whereas an idea becomes alive and goes around the world 1,000 times because the thought became a word. And when the thought becomes a word and you connect it to another person, then it becomes sharing of a thought. And when you share a thought, that's when things can go viral. Because one thought infects another person's head and it goes and goes and goes. Good stuff gets viral. Bad stuff gets viral even more quickly. And my request to all of you is whenever you get information, please filter it. Please watch out for it. Please don't think that probably that's really true or that's really correct. You need to be very, very careful and filter it. And at the end of the day, I believe that if you're able to filter it and focus, you will be able to take in what is required. Because like I said, every single one of us has that little bit to offer. Now, I'm done with my PowerPoint. Write to ushy@gmail.com. To all of you who are students, I would love for you to go in there and write a few words and join me on Instagram. I'm sure all of you are there following all the actors and the actresses. Why don't you follow a teacher as well? And to all my friends who are here, I would really appreciate it if you actually just go back there and write in a few words so that many more people will benefit out of this. To all my friends, including Jagdish, Deepti, Anand, they're all there with me at the back somewhere in this world. I'm so, so grateful for having helped me set this up and continue at some point. Now, I would want all of you to please, I'm opening my chat window. If you have anything that I can address, I'm going to address your question and take it verbally. So let everyone remain muted, but you can start typing all your questions. I'm looking at it. To those of you who are saying thank you very much as well. To those of you who have questions, thank you very much. And to those of you who really want to say things to me, this is the time. If you have anything that I can address specifically, this is the time, even on YouTube. If you have any questions, please just key it in, and I will be able to answer anything that you have as a specific doubt. So I'm going to be starting to take questions. So you can see that, yes. So the first question here is, how to overcome audience bias if you're following cues we get. Now, there is no need to overcome audience bias, but at the same time, you should be able to reinforce what you're speaking in with information which you're going to convey to tackle the bias. Now, how am I saying this? Because now, if I'm going to tell you a story and someone is going to say that, I'm sorry, I don't believe in the story, it's your job to ensure that you say, no, you know what? I did this in my real life and I got some results. I shared it with one more person and they actually got a similar result, if not a better result. And I believe that at some point they did very, very well after following exactly what I told them. So what am I doing? It's called modeling and reinforcing. You need to show people why you're sharing something with them. Because if I'm going to share a concept from a book and tell them that it's going to work, then they're going to suspect my intent. Audiences which don't trust you can be very, very dangerous. Audiences that actually trust you, they will really start looking in for a reason to do what you suggest. And that's exactly how you overcome biases. By telling them examples, by showing them a story, by also showing them people who have done something that requires not only the attention, but also what you're trying to share. Now, sometimes during a presentation, we lose track and forget the next point. All right, now this is something which happens to many of us. I'll give you a trick. Every time you forget what you're going to say, start with the last sentence you said again, and your brain will recall memory. And when you start with that last sentence that you said, and your brain starts recalling memory, good for you. If you don't, use 2 words from the previous sentence and start a fresh new sentence. Believe me, don't underestimate the capacity of 1200 grams between your ears, right? It's a fantastic organ. It does wonders, and you guys will be able to do a lot if you start relying and capitalizing on this beautiful organ between your ears. Like I said, use the last sentence of 2 words from the last sentence and start a different one. All right. Now, my question is, what to do when you're scared to speak anything in an office meeting when the seniors are there, thinking I might be wrong and my seniors might judge me. There's nothing called senior and junior. It's all about respect. So what do? You just, excuse me, sir, I have something to add to this. Whenever you say, I have something to add, nobody will say you don't add. But if you say, I beg to differ, if you say that I don't agree with you, and if you say that what I'm saying is better than what you're saying, then it becomes very, very confrontational. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember, it's the words that you use, it's the tone that you use, it's not really the word alone, but a lot more than that matters. So if you're going to use something with the senior, always say, if you may, can I add something? If you may, I wish to say something to add value. All right. When you use phrases like that, the other brain becomes automatically very, very accepting. And it's important that you learn phrases like that. If you're going to say some stories and say, the former said this, the latter said this, the audience is confused, they lose you. So it's called phrasing. You need to learn phrases. Join me in my journey. I encourage all of you to follow me. I encourage you to kindly listen to me. And believe me, all the people there will start listening to you. So it's all about the phrases that you can use. How do a YouTube creator like me have an engaging audience and help me build? Choose a topic, a catchy title, and be very crisp and specific. Every single person today is on YouTube. Every single person is telling stories. Remember, people don't have all the time in the world. Remember, you got to be very specific and sharp. Also remember that you need to back it up with something which people can go back and refer. Like today, that's why I said write to Ushy at Gmail. Any one of you who wants what I shared with you, just please key it in and the PDF will reach you within a day or maybe 2-3 days. It might take time, but it will reach you. All right. What you can do is you just go through that once again, and this entire context which I explained to you will come back in your entire head refreshed. Right. Next question. How does during corporate presentations, we have to rush through some graphs, performances and focus areas. We would have 5 to 8 minutes. How do we organize it and incorporate all the introductions, body and story conclusion? The introduction will take you 10 seconds. You can use 6 minutes for your graphs and presentations. The 7th minute will be to reiterate the most important of the information that you mentioned. And the last 20 seconds will be to bring back the opening and say, like I said in the beginning, this is what I'd love to add in the end. So the ending will be a repetition of mostly the beginning. It's called summarize and refocus. You need to summarize and you need to refocus. It's very, very easy. It's also something that you can do very, very easily. Always in any time, be it 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 20 minutes, or 2 hours, that's exactly the same philosophy you will. So you have to actually look at your comfort level and decide accordingly, how am I going to address a difficulty? How am I going to address information? How am I going to address just a feel good speech that I'm going to give to people? You need to elaborate the purpose, decide your timing, and whether you're in the office, PPT, or otherwise, you should be able to conclude without offending anybody with a very, very strong summarized statement of the opening itself, right? The next question, how to engage judges during a seminar when they're least interested? Change the judges. Change the judges. You'll be comfortable. All right. Judges who are not interested, they're not judges. They don't deserve to be there in the first place. So please ensure you don't call them back again or bring something to their notice using the body. You can make a sound, you can come there, you can tap the table, you can make a clap, you can engage them. Those who are disengaged, you can bring it back to them if you're smart and you're shrewd. All right. Now, how can we engage distracted virtual audience? Most of the cameras, when they're switched off, you should understand that they don't care too much. All right. They keep walking up and down, they drink, they're coming in here, and you cannot help somebody else with their level of focus. Now, who's the loser? Somebody who's sharing is never the loser. Somebody who's receiving and not interested is 100% the loser. All right. Whenever you share, you're doing a good deed, but you can't force everybody, especially sessions like these. We are free, right? So people think free is something where the other woman has nothing better to do. I'm sorry to say, free is graciousness. Free is because you believe in the strength of sharing. And communicators who are good, they always believe in the strength of sharing. And that's why every single one of us who's wired onto this is now sitting here, because together we are creating something called energy. And that good energy is going to be very, very important so that we can get everyone together, make them feel happier, productive time, and they will go back with some information which is important. Now, there's a question here, how to overcome stage fear of unknown in our presentation. This is from a YouTube question. How to overcome fear of the unknown. 1, there are anxiety exercises. 2, there can be breathing exercises. Drink a glass of water. One trick which I'll share with all of you today, just press with your index finger in the middle of your thumb. If you can do this consistently 8 to 10 times, about 3 or 4 cycles before you begin, there is a neurological pathway that actually helps you calm yourself down. Use both your index finger, use the middle of your thumb, and just press in with your nail. Just put this under the table and start doing this. You will start feeling more and more comfortable. That will alleviate your anxiety immediately. Ma'am, how to overcome when someone is shooting questions repeatedly? Well, you need to first tell them, I will take in 5 questions. All right. Anything more than that, you can write to me. The other secret in body language, when you say, do any of you have any questions, you will have 100 questions. But instead, if you bring it towards you and say, do any of you have any questions, you will have maybe just 10 or 12 questions. So it's all how you lead and they will follow you. It's called pacing and rapport. You need to pace the audience. You need to be 1 step above and you need to be 1 step beyond so that the audience will be comfortable and stay in the moment and not ask too many questions. Now, shooting questions, yes. Feel free is the strength of sharing. Agree with you. Yes, I'm glad. Excellent session. Thank you so much. I'm getting a whole load of love and great good wishes. Thank you so much to everyone who's on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel, go back to social media. And if you liked what I shared and you found some useful tips, please go back there and share what you found. Put in a picture of our session today, and then please put in a couple of good words. We keep doing this every week. So I invite all of you to please come by and join us either on Facebook Live or on Zoom, because we're really full and we don't want to take on too many people. I'm seeing a lot of questions over here, and I will say awesome session. Thank you very much. Great session. Thank you very much. Wonderful tip. If you have any other questions, write to ushy@gmail.com. I can see a lot of questions. Great tips. Yes. Okay. Somebody's asking me, any one metaphysical activity you suggest for overall development of an individual? The only activity that I suggest ever for development of an individual is meditation. If you cannot get into deep states of meditation, please sit with yourself for just 10 minutes. You send me a WhatsApp message, I'll send you an affirmation. Listen to it for 10 minutes. You need to develop the power to focus. If you don't develop the power to focus, it's going to be very, very difficult. Ladies and gentlemen, mindfulness practices for about 10 minutes is really, really important. How to control the naughty student. Please let them be naughty. There's no need to control a student. Students have to be naughty. I don't want them to be serious. I want them to be naughty because that's the age to be naughty. I was always thrown out of my classroom for asking questions and laughing and being naughty. So what did I end up being? An outstanding student, because I always stood outside the classroom. But that didn't take away from who I am today, the intelligence that people have. So students need to be naughty. I would say that you bring it to their notice and say, hello, can we be a little less naughty now? And then maybe after you listen to me, we'll do whatever you want, right? So I'll be more than happy to do that. How would you handle a situation when the audience starts making fun jokes at a speaker? Oh, believe me, I'm an expert. I handle people poking me every day. I've handled people who are poking fun at me many days. There was a man who hated me in one of my sessions. He came up to me and said, Madam, how do you face a problem if the problem is your face? And that was such a nasty question. But you know what I told him? 30 years you've been living with the face you couldn't adjust to. Can you please tell me? Because I wouldn't know you've lived for 30 years with a face, which is a problem. And you know what? You can always show the mirror. You can always handle those kind of questions. You will know exactly how people are, and you'll know exactly what is the intention of people. Most of the time, please don't react, always respond. How to hold the attention of small children. Yes, small children is a different ball game. You have to use the physical body for small children. If you use the physical body, then probably everything falls in place. You need to hold them, tap them, play with them, and that's how you get their attention. You can't just be speaking to them because their attention span is extremely short, right? Any other questions? One lovely sharing. I have a question during presentations. Yes, most of the questions I've handled. Is there anything else that you really want to ask me? I'm not able to. Great. So wonderful session to every one of you. Janet, I can see all your thanks, and all my friends, Sridevi, Janet, Karthik, Murli, Ashwini, everybody, all my Toastmaster friends, Arjun, Prashant, I assume you're here. Mazar, I'm not sure if you're here. Nikhil, awesome. And awesome tip to reduce questions. Everybody on YouTube, Lakshmi, thank you so much. My students, my friends Jagdish, Anand Krishna and Deepthi, who are handling all the back end and the tech for me. We have capacity for a large room now. We conduct a lot of sessions on wellness. I'm doing this bit because I really love sharing communication skills. Like I tell people, thousands of us go to bed hungry and millions of us go to bed unappreciated. So without your appreciation and your love, I would just end up being a chatter and not a speaker. I believe there's a lot of labor of love and a lot of practice that goes into great speaking. They call me Tung Fu Master, not without a reason. You can make and you can break, you can create and you can demolish. You can always publish or perish. There can be a lot of things that come out of your words. It's not what you hear at 9 p.m. screaming the media. Their choice of words is just to inflict pain and negativity. It's not that this country does not have great news. I believe this country has brilliant things that are going on. And I think this country has a lot of things that are to share and that are to do in the future. I started with the virus. I'm going to end with the virus. And I'm going to tell people that as the dust settles and when this thing about Corona ends, we will realize how little we need, how much we have. And the biggest and the strongest asset that all of us have is a human connection. I really, really thank all of you for being with me. It's 5 o'clock, and I believe that I have great value for your time, and I have greater value for your listening. I'm very grateful to you. I want you to switch on your cameras now. We're going to take a couple of screenshots. Anant, are you there? Anant, are you there? Or otherwise, Jagdish, would you be able to take a couple of screenshots? You need to actually just switch the pages. Everybody, get onto your gallery. switch on your cameras, everybody. Good to see all of you. Yes, and have a big smile on your face and a nice thumbs up. All right. And yes, Anand, Jags, Jagdish, thank you. All of you are there. Everybody switch on. I mean, we are not dead yet. Corona is still around and we can kick its ass. So all the students, everyone who's there, Anita, thank you so much. Ravi, I can see you. Dore, everybody who I know, Naga, Murli, good to see you. And I'm focused on the first page. There are 11 such pages. I request Anand to please just push the pages and take me 11 snapshots. So everyone who's there, I'm going to come to you. Switch on your cameras. Chitra, lovely to see you. Every one of you, I'm not even calling. I really love you guys. Lalana, awesome. Thumbs up, everybody, thumbs up. Rani, great to see you. Even with your fracture, you're sitting there. Raga, Deepti, there you go. Everybody who I'm seeing. Please just go. Bala, great to see you. All my friends, Anand, great smile. Nikhil from everywhere. Fahad, are you there? Yeah, Fazil is there. Okay, I can see it as some other name. Great, everybody, all of you. Sanjeev, my friends from Twitter, my friends from Instagram, my friend Anita, who has sent all her students from Adarsh Institute of Business Management and Information Technology. Thanks a ton, thanks a ton. In this amount of time, this is all I can do. Ashish, Nitin, Monica, Rekha, I'm just calling names. Girish, awesome, great to see you. All of you, Manisha, love you so much. You've done me so much of work. Thank you so much for all your videos and what you put up. And Shanti, yes, Shailaja, Mamta, Vinayak, all you new people, thank you. Shaji, great to see you. I'm glad you're not in China. Arjun, thank you for all your help. Thumbs up, cameras on. Don't forget, we are ending on a great note. Mamta, Tanuja, everybody. I mean, the list is endless. I'm just clicking at random. Yes, some of you in certain pages are sleeping. Thank you for that. Your cameras are not on. Preeti Bardwaj, Maitresh, Sujoy. I'm not sure if you're not wearing clothes. Pushpa, lovely to see you. Cameras off. Everyone's cameras off. The last few pages, cameras off. Great luck. You like to keep it like that, then just stay like that. Jay, great to see you. Sharm and Jay, good to see you. Thank you. So now you can switch on the microphones. We'll have the microphones on, Jagdish. Don't make cooker noises and start screaming and all that. Yes, great.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for a wonderful session.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Session, ma'am.
Wonderful lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Ushy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ushy.
Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, Ushy. Bye-bye.
Wonderful
Thank
Sunday.
you, ma'am.
So much, ma'am.
All of you have a nice
Make
evening.
maximum use of these 2 weeks and you can have a lot of fun and lots of learning. Just write to Ushy if you got the PPT. Go out there and spread the message. Don't just take in everything and go and forget about it. Practice it. Right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ma'am, you are muted.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Doc.
Yes. Oh, Bala, thank you. How can I miss you? Yes. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. And now, bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ushy. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, everybody. Jagdish, Murli, all my friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ushy.
Yes, Prakash, how are you? Thank you.
I'm doing good. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. All of you, I swear to God, sometimes it makes me wonder, but thank you so much. We've
Thank
had
you.
600 plus people, who've come by and
Thank you.
registered. So I'm grateful, really grateful. Thank you. Join us in our wellness programs as well.
So you
Thank
can
you.
bring your friends and family and log on. It costs nothing. So you can please come by. Thanks a ton. Thanks. If you have any suggestions also, please give in. I'm more than happy to receive anything that you have as feedback. Okay. Raju, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. At least this way we get to see each other. Raju.
Yes.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, bye Manish, bye. Everybody, Manish Calicut. Yes, we have people from all over India. Thanks. Thanks so much. Bye, bye everybody. Lingaraj,
Bye.
good. You're always a face I keep watching. Thank you so much. You have a face behind and you have a face in front. Nice. Okay, Suman, Devaki, thank you. We have Pawan Kalyan. Wow. Okay, great. Rusty, thank you so much, Rusty.
ಗೌರಿ
Prakriti,
ಕಾಮತ್ತೆ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು
Prakriti.
ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವ್ ಮನ್ ಪೊಲೀಸರು
Hi,
ಎಲ್ಲ
ma'am.
ಅಲ್ಲಿವೆ
Rajan sir had given me the same.
Swarnima, yes. Thank you.
ಬೈದ್ರಂತ
Okay.
It was
Who,
really
Rajan Jindal? Rajan Jindal? Okay.
ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಸಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ
Ashivadri, Vijay, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Vijay is from Hubli. Yeah. So all my friends are there from everywhere. Jagdish is from, you can see on the screen, he's from Germany. Nikhil is here on YouTube. He's saying this is much better. He doesn't like Zoom. Satish, Jorapur, thank you so much. Agarwal, Ravi Jain, thanks, everybody. Thank you so much.
ಹಲೋ ಬಾಯ್ 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 ಬಾಯ್
Bye. Swanima, keep coming back. Thank Rajan. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to tell you how good it was. Vaman
Oh,
Muradi.
thank you. Means a lot. Thanks, Satan.
Thank you so much.
Madam Devki, Tata. Yes. Bye, everybody. We still have people going. Prakriti, bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Hema, smile a little. Hema Kumar, she's frozen. Yes, great. Bye, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Jagdish, we can stop the recording, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, everybody. Take care. Anupama, take care. Everybody, thanks a ton. Yes, leave the meeting. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Vikas, bye-bye. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. You're magical. Or thank you. Prabhashini, thank you so much. I am magical. I believe that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thanks a ton. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Okay. Dr. Amreen, bye. Good afternoon. Bye. And a couple of doctors. Thank you so much. Dr. Parveen, Dr. Amreen, all my students. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Yusuf Sharif, oh God, thank you.